On May 12, 2018, Joleen Cummings, a 34-year-old mother of three, left her job at Tangles Hair Salon in Yulee, Florida, never to be seen again. What followed was a complex investigation that would uncover a trail of deception spanning decades and ultimately lead to the conviction of her co-worker, Kimberly Kessler, for first-degree murder. This case, which captivated the small Nassau County community and beyond, revealed a story of stolen identities, mysterious pasts, and a brutal crime that left a family without closure. Joleen Cummings was known as a devoted mother and talented hairstylist. When she failed to pick up her children on Mother's Day, May 13, 2018, alarm bells immediately rang for her family. Her mother, Ann Johnson, reported her missing to the Nassau County Sheriff's Office on May 14th. The initial stages of the investigation focused on Cummings' personal life. As with many missing persons cases, investigators first looked at those closest to the victim. Cummings had recently separated from her husband, Jason Cummings, in 2017, which naturally made him a person of interest. However, this line of inquiry quickly proved unfruitful. On May 15, 2018, a significant break in the case occurred when Cummings' 2006 Ford Expedition was discovered abandoned near a Home Depot parking lot in Yulee. Surveillance footage would later reveal a crucial piece of evidence. Kimberly Kessler, Cummings' co-worker at Tangles Hair Salon, was seen parking the vehicle there in the early hours of May 13th. As the investigation progressed, attention shifted to Kimberly Kessler, who at the time was known to her co-workers as Jennifer Sibbert. On May 16, 2018, just 4 days after Cummings' disappearance, Kessler was arrested in St. Johns County for stealing Cummings' SUV. The arrest of Kessler marked the beginning of a startling revelation that would shock investigators and the public alike. As they delved into Kessler's background, they uncovered a web of false identities that spanned across the United States. Kimberly Kessler, born in 1968 in Butler, Pennsylvania, had been living under assumed names for over 2 decades. According to Sheriff Bill Leeper, she had used at least 17 aliases across 33 cities in 14 states. This pattern of deception began in the mid-1990s, shortly after Kessler graduated from high school. Kessler's ability to evade detection for so long raised questions about potential past crimes. Sheriff Leeper later stated, "I don't believe for 1 second that Kimberly Kessler, or whatever name she's going by today, I don't believe this is her first murder. I don't at all. She's evil in the flesh." The FBI had been searching for Kessler since 2000 when she was reported missing by her mother at the age of 35. During this time, Kessler had stolen the identity of Jennifer Sibbert, a girl who died in 1987 and was buried in Kessler's hometown. Key early findings. Point 1. Cummings' 2006 Ford Expedition was found abandoned in a Home Depot parking lot on May 15th. 2 surveillance footage showed Kimberly Kessler, then known as Jennifer Sibbert, parking Cummings' vehicle there in the early hours of May 13th. 3. Kessler was arrested on May 16th in St. Johns County for stealing Cummings' SUV. Evidence at the crime scene. As investigators examined Tangles Hair Salon, they uncovered crucial evidence. 1. Signs of a struggle were found at the salon. 2. Cummings' blood was discovered on Kessler's scissors and boots. 3. Surveillance footage showed Kessler discarding a trash bag and emptying a trash can into dumpsters near the salon on the weekend of Cummings' disappearance. The landfill search. Based on the evidence from the dumpsters, authorities conducted an extensive search. 1. In July 2018, a week-long search was carried out at the Cheshire Island landfill in Folkestone, Georgia. 2. While Cummings' body was not found, investigators discovered several items related to her disappearance. Kessler's suspicious behavior and purchases. The investigation revealed Kessler's actions before and after Cummings' disappearance. 1. Kessler had purchased several items, including an electric carving knife, zip ties, and garbage bags, which investigators believed were used to clean up the crime scene and dispose of the body. 2. Her internet search history showed weeks of premeditation before Cummings' disappearance. 3. The day before Cummings vanished, she reportedly told Kessler, "Go away. I don't like you. You are fake." This confrontation may have been the final trigger for Kessler's actions. DNA evidence. Forensic analysis provided crucial evidence. 1. Joleen's DNA was found on socks, boots, and scissors in Kessler's car. 2. This DNA evidence strongly linked Kessler to the crime. Kessler's multiple identities. As the investigation progressed, Kessler's complex history of deception came to light. 1. Kessler had been using aliases since 1996. 2. Authorities uncovered at least 25 aliases she used across 35 cities in 14 states. 3. She had been reported missing by her mother in Pennsylvania in 2000 for Kessler had stolen the identity of Jennifer Sibbert, a girl who died in 1987. In an interview with Nassau County detectives, Kimberly Kessler initially presented herself as a cooperative and chatty individual, recounting tales from her past that included a 19-year run of vagabond living. She spoke about her diverse work history, including stints as a stripper, cocktail waitress, truck driver, and realtor. Kessler also mentioned leaving her 14-month-old son behind nearly 2 decades ago and losing contact with her family in Pennsylvania. For the first 2 hours, the detectives allowed her to speak freely, hoping to build rapport and gather more information about her background and possible involvement in Joleen Cummings' disappearance. The tone of the interview shifted dramatically when detectives confronted Kessler with evidence linking her to Cummings' disappearance. They presented surveillance footage showing Kessler abandoning Cummings' SUV at a Home Depot parking lot and detailed the blood evidence found at Tangles Hair Salon, where both women worked. Investigators revealed that they had found Cummings' blood on Kessler's scissors and boots, as well as on various surfaces within the salon. They also mentioned searching Kessler's storage unit, where they discovered shoes stained with Cummings' blood. Faced with this mounting evidence, Kessler's demeanor changed from cooperative to silent and defensive. As the detectives pressed further, Kessler's responses became increasingly evasive. They suggested that something unplanned and terrible had occurred, hoping to elicit a confession or at least a reaction. Despite the overwhelming evidence, Kessler maintained her silence on the specifics of Cummings' fate. The interview highlighted Kessler's ability to maintain a facade of normalcy while hiding a dark and violent side. This pivotal moment in the investigation underscored the detectives' determination to seek justice for Joleen Cummings, ultimately leading to Kessler's indictment and conviction for first-degree murder. As the investigation progressed, a clearer picture of the crime began to emerge. Evidence showed there had been a struggle at the salon, with Cummings' blood found on Kessler's scissors and boots. Investigators also discovered that Kessler had purchased several items, such as an electric carving knife, zip ties, and garbage bags, which they believed were used to clean up the crime scene and dispose of the body. Further evidence came from Kessler's internet search history, which showed weeks of premeditation before Cummings' disappearance. The day before Cummings vanished, she reportedly told Kessler, "Go away. I don't like you. You are fake." This confrontation may have been the final trigger for Kessler's actions. Initially charged with auto theft for stealing Cummings' SUV, Kessler was held on a $500,000 bond. As evidence mounted, the charges escalated. On September 7, 2018, Kessler was indicted for first-degree murder. The road to trial was fraught with complications, largely due to Kessler's erratic behavior and questions about her mental competency. She underwent multiple evaluations and court hearings to determine her fitness to stand trial. Kessler's behavior in custody was often disruptive. She went on a hunger strike, losing a substantial amount of weight, dropping from her initial weight of 196 pounds to a dangerously low 74 pounds. She also engaged in disturbing behaviors, such as regularly stripping naked and spreading feces on the window of her observation cell. Despite these issues, Kessler was ultimately found competent to stand trial. The trial began on November 29, 2021, with jury selection. Throughout the proceedings, Kessler refused to participate, often creating disruptions during her brief court appearances. She spent most of the trial in a separate room with a video link to the proceedings. On December 9, 2021, after just over an hour of deliberations, the jury found Kimberly Kessler guilty of first-degree murder in the death of Joleen Cummings. During the closing arguments, prosecutor Don R. Ferguson laid out a timeline from April 30, 2018 to May 16, 2018, describing how Kessler had planned the murder, conducted online research, and then killed Cummings on May 12, spending the following days cleaning up the crime scene. On January 27, 2022, Kessler was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Judge James Daniels stated that even if it wasn't a mandatory sentence, life without the possibility of parole would absolutely be appropriate. Despite the conviction, many questions remain unanswered. Joleen Cummings' body has never been found, leaving her family without full closure. The extensive search efforts, including the week-long search of the Cheshire Island landfill, failed to locate her remains. Moreover, Kessler's long history of using false identities and living under the radar has led investigators to speculate about potential previous crimes. Sheriff Leeper's statement about believing this wasn't Kessler's first murder has raised questions about unsolved cases in the numerous locations where Kessler lived under her various aliases. The case of Joleen Cummings' murder and the conviction of Kimberly Kessler serves as a chilling reminder of the complexities involved in modern criminal investigations. It demonstrates how a person can live for decades under false identities, evading detection while potentially harboring dark secrets. While the conviction brought some measure of justice for Joleen Cummings and her family, the full truth about Kimberly Kessler's past and the exact circumstances of Cummings' death may never be fully known. The case remains a stark example of how a single act of violence can unravel a web of deception spanning decades and leave a lasting impact on a community. As the search for Joleen Cummings' remains continues, her story serves as a poignant reminder of the enduring pain experienced by families of missing persons, even after legal proceedings have concluded. The case of Kimberly Kessler and Joleen Cummings will likely be remembered as one of the most bizarre and tragic criminal cases in Nassau County's history.